We won't hurt you.
Code 8 Part 2 is obviously the sequel to Code 8. And I enjoyed the first part. I thought it was quite surprising that sci-fi. It's definitely a straight to kind of TV movie that you want to watch on Netflix. I wouldn't have paid it to watch at the cinema. So I was excited to see when we got part 2. Having the Amell brothers, I've watched many seasons of Arrow. I don't know if I've watched all of them, but I like him as that character in there, and seeing him here acting with his brother, the brother which we've recently seen in the Amazon Prime series Upload.
There's another you living in Lakeview.
You think this is identity theft?
And continuing that story, it starts 5 years later, and we have our protagonist being thrust into a world he doesn't really want to be thrust into. I thought it was good, but not great. It's not one that I'm eager to go back to, but that's doing it a disservice for what it is as a film. I think the special effects are good. There are moments when you get robotic bad guys in here. You've seen the robotic human forms that they have had in part 1, but this time around they have a sort of robot that's very realistic, that could be a robot that we have, a dog-formed robot that we have here, because we've seen them around how certain companies have made them, that people have played with them and made them look weird and dark and dangerous. And here, that feels like it's so close to reality that keeps it a little bit grounded. And so when we get the use of the powers that the people have in this film, I thought the special effects with that, the action scenes that we get in this are very good. I just feel like I don't really know the characters that much. Apart from the instigating moments where one character meets a young female, something goes wrong with them and we get a little bit of insight into their life, I just didn't care enough about the characters for me to go, yeah, that was awesome. I really was on board and worried for our characters. Now, did I want the good guys to win? Yeah, 100%. But I wasn't like upset. I probably wouldn't be that upset if a few of the others died. In fact, there was one character that I got upset that passed away. And for me, that character was the best character in the film. I feel like I'm coming down hard on it, but I just had my expectations from the first part, and I was hoping that it would be elevated in part 2. But for me, this was a fun sci-fi watch, an easy watch, not bad at all, definitely higher than midway. The acting is fine, the dialogue is fine. Fine. The special effects are fine. And there's some really fun action sequences that I think people will talk about and go, I like what they did between the people that have powers. I just would have loved some of more of what X-Men does with like powered people movies. You know, they give us some background, they give us an idea of who these characters are. I just felt like the story was fairly weak in this one. I was hoping that they were going to do a little bit more with it, considering how much time they spent on it as well. And I don't really know some of those characters that we were introduced to at all. There's no background story for them. That is not always necessary, but for me it felt like they needed some more padding for me to care enough for what was going on. Everything that was going on was well filmed, looked good, and it ran its course, and I was like, yeah, that was cool. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. So I'm going to give it 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one.
Let me know your thoughts and feelings. What did you think of part 1? Are you excited to watch part 2? Thanks so much for watching this review, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.